That was me.
And me too. I'm Rodger Jacobs, and I was born in 1946. My father was an Army combat veteran. I grew up in Ohio, and I graduated from high school in 1965. And I wasn't interested in anything at that time, but I saw the writing on the wall as far as the draft had started. So I decided to join the Marine Corps and see the world, a great adventure. And so I did. And I went to basic training in 1966.
So after your basic training, when you got sent to Vietnam, which is August of '66,
right, yeah.
Where was one of the first places, first part of your tour taking place over there?
Well, we were. I was assigned 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines, Alpha Company, 1st Platoon, and infantry. We call the infantry in the Marine Corps, we called them grunts. So I was a grunt. The first place I was there was an Esso plant on the shore of the South China Sea, and it was just north of Da Nang. And there was an outpost on a hill nearby that guarded the Esso plant. And so what we would do would be run patrols all through the mountains. There was a pass called High Van Pass that was on that road that was north of where we were, but we'd run patrols all the way up to High Van Pass and down, and there's old French bunkers, concrete bunkers in there. But basically I was with Alpha Company, 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines, in that area, running patrols, going on listening posts, or setting an ambush at night. We found some booby traps. For the first 2 weeks I was there, we didn't really have any. I didn't fire my rifle for 2 weeks. But then my squad was picked to be part of a CAC unit, which is a Combined Action Force, CAF unit, with the South Vietnamese Army. What it is that the Marines and the South Vietnamese Army would make a combined force, and they would have a compound that was close to a village, and our objective was to win the hearts and minds of the villagers in the village. So my squad was asked to start building the compound that was going to house the CAF unit. So we did. We worked for 2 days, filling sandbags and digging bunkers and stringing barbed wire in this one small area right next to a little village called Kim Lin, a fishing village on the South China Sea. And the third night, the South Vietnamese were supposed to show up to reinforce us, but they never came. So we set in on the third night, and at midnight we got attacked. And this is the first time I was in combat. There were 11 Marines when we set in at night, and in the morning there were only 3 of us left. The only reason that I survived is that we had a machine gun in our hole, and we held them off. I killed my first enemy that night. I killed 3 guys. 2 of them I shot down within 5 feet of the hole. They were coming at us with AK-47s firing from the hip, and I could see the other positions in our. We had only 3 positions. We had three positions and a tent in the middle. The other positions were overrun. I could see they had crawled right over top of those guys, and they were everywhere. So we had to fight them off in a 360-degree area. I mean, we had to shoot every place to keep them off it. I fired an M14 first. I fired my M14. My M14 malfunctioned, and then I got on the machine gun because the machine gunner, the guy that was with me on the machine gun, a guy named Gamble, was wounded, and I was firing the machine gun. In the morning, I picked this up. I picked that up in the morning, and that's why my M14 malfunctioned, because it had a bullet hole through it, the magazine. There's a bullet hole through the magazine. That's why my M14 malfunctioned when I wasn't on watch, running a patrol, or out running an ambush. The only time we had any contact with the enemy at that time is my squad stole some long-range rations, which are freeze-dried rations, from the Special Forces camp that was within the Quezon boundaries. We stole the rations, and we went on a 10-day patrol into the Oshaw Valley into Laos. I didn't know we were going into Laos at the time, but we had a squad leader that was pretty gung-ho, and we went all the way into the Oshaw Valley, which was a very strongly defended, fortified North Vietnamese positions. So me and another fellow were going down, we'd move it during the night and set in during the day. That's how we went this. It was a reconnaissance patrol, 10 days out. So me and a friend, another guy, we went down off the ridgeline where we were staying during the day and went down to the bottom of the mountain to get water. We carried all the water canteens down. We were filling them up at the stream, and an explosion went off behind me. And I felt stinging in my legs. We grabbed the canteens and ran back up the mountain, and we could hear something pursuing us. And we got to the top, and we almost got shot because the guys up there had heard the explosion and they were all ready to shoot. But we got there, and we grabbed their stuff and started going back to Quezon. And what had happened is we must have bumped into the North Vietnamese Army patrol because they must have thrown a grenade. So all that day, all the night, all the next day, and half the next night, we ran. We ran back to Quezon. And we were pursued that whole time too. And what we would do, we'd run for an hour, hour and a half, and stop and set a booby trap.